you. Your Life Matters. This is Catherine Isabel Jennings for Your Life Matters News and Comment. Your Life Matters Wellness. Welcome today. I just wanted to give you an update. Today is March 2nd, 2021, and I have so much to share with you. Some things are on the floor right now. Looking at the House of Representatives, I will get to that immediately. Oh well, I'll get to that soon, but I mean, we have to address this immediately today. That's why I'm on right now. And I just want to give you some encouragement. Your life matters. When it comes to news and whatever, there's a side that that is not being presented to you. It is being quashed, and I believe that there's tons of people like me out there now that are not afraid to say, hey, you got to know this stuff, and take it for what it is. I do have really good sources, and I'm not going to stop. All right, so just embrace it or turn me off. I'm going to be there, and I care, and I care, and I care, and I'm going to keep caring. I have to. I'm a woman of integrity. May not be perfect, but I'm a woman of integrity and smarts, and I like to research stuff. So that's to your benefit. Anyway, all right. So I'm going to give you an update on CPAC. There are a lot of highlights on that. It is the conservative platform, and actually President Trump, the 45th president of the United States, and I believe the 46th, but that's another story. He actually got on and he did, he's a straight shooter, and he might be really, really crass and stuff like that, but gosh darn it, he's a straight shooter for all of us, and we really need to not be afraid of if someone's like crass and somebody wants to come forth with truth, because I'd rather have someone in my freaking face with truth than someone going behind my back or trying to hide the truth from me like major media is doing. And I'll stand behind what I just said, because there's a lot of falsehoods being placed, and there's a lot of, many people are blindly walking and following narratives that just are not true. And I have some good points on that in here. Okay, so all right, let's look at this. Trying to think where. Okay, so I'm going to look at, have you not heard that under the Trump administration, what he basically did was he imposed sanctions on Iran, and he said stop, and he did it very tactfully. You haven't heard this in the media. When President Trump was in office, and he put these sanctions actually curtailed and stopped the influx of just barragement of military and disruption over in the Middle East. You haven't heard this from the major media. In fact, what those sanctions did bring was our boys home, our women home, our people in the military home, and those sanctions actually led to just a silencing for a season until the progression of peace could be a movement forward towards peace for Iran. All right, so what did this administration do this past week? At least 4 days ago, according to the New York Times. The Biden administration retaliated by sending bombs and whatever over into Syria, and they just took all of that hard work that the Trump administration did, and it kicked it and flushed it down the toilet, and now we've got upheaval in the Middle East now, and the big point of that isn't that there were loss of lives, which there was, isn't the fact that that someone like Trump did all this stuff and it was removed. The big thing is that Iran and the Middle East don't think we have any balls. They think that we go back on our word, our country goes back on its word, and it's like, okay, you want to play hardball? Now they're going to start playing even harder ball, and it's because of the Biden administration. That's all I have to say with this. Let's see. They just undid that. Okay, the other thing that is going on with the Biden administration, and this is CPAC, I'm relaying these things, and I'm also bringing my input into it as well. Okay, so here we have this gazillion-dollar major wall that went up forever and a day, and it got completed except for a couple of small areas that needed to be finished. Okay, first of all, the Biden administration saying nope, nope, nope. And in addition to that, they want to pull off all security people on that border wall system, which Texas is really upset about because these people would be coming into their state, and they're raising a havoc about it. But also, what the Trump administration did that you don't know is, do you remember all of that big flamboyant rhetoric of children being misplaced and at the border because they had no children? We were put in cages, and on the cages, by the way, were built by the Obama administration to hold people and children, and they blamed it all on Trump, which was such a joke. What the Trump administration did that you did not hear is there was massive smuggling of children and adults, aka sex trafficking of adults and children. And Trump stopped that at the borders. Okay, and he said no more. And so many of these children that you saw were actually children that were taken wherever on the planet and put in a holding capacity. And now it's kind of like the borders are open, folks. Who's coming in now? We've got more sex trafficking people that are going to start coming in. We've got a cartel that was, captured and sent back. Okay, our borders are not allowing that anymore. Let's see, any kind of drug smuggling, it's coming in. It's going to come in, and actually the numbers I see and I'm getting are right now, because of the Biden administration, 10,000 plus people are coming in a day. We don't know who they are. We're just letting them come in. Just saying. I have a pretty good, okay. All right, so let's go to the pandemic. All right, I'm shifting and I'm going to go back and forth. I'm trying to update you with a lot of data, okay? The goal of this pandemic, whether you've heard it or not, and you probably haven't, the goal is to have a reset. Okay, you can call that a medical one. There's a bigger agenda than a medical, quote, reset, unquote, and Catherine Isabel Jennings' words are saying it, but so many people are saying this. The goal is not about the pandemic. They're using the pandemic as the model and the motivation to do this pandemic. We have Davos. Please look up Davos and what that means to you. Look up the Green New Deal. The Green New Deal is no different than the Agenda 21 that was passed in 1984 down in Brazil, and our former president, the first Bush, signed that in, and it actually called in, let's make this whole world a whole new world order. Okay, and that's a 324-page document that we have not heard of. All right, it dissolves borders. It dissolves political negotiations between countries. It dissolves. And who's in charge of that? The United Nations, the WHO, who's running that? Who's also running the United Nations? Don't fool yourself, okay? So this pandemic that was from Wuhan, it's called the China virus, whatever you want to label it, the goal of this pandemic, this virus, is twofold, I believe. This is my research is finding this over and over again. Well, actually three. It's dismantling our government and putting in a social, what's the term I'm looking for? Critical race theory agenda, which is socialism. I could tell you the source of that. But it's doing that. It is dismantling the government with that. It is putting forth a pharma as government type of installation, and I'll explain that because I just got something really good this morning on that, and then it's actually pushing forth a Green New Deal, and they're calling it a Green New Deal. This whole thing has Agenda 21 all over it, has Davos all over it. So let's see. I'm going to come at it from a pharmacology kind of venue. I think Fauci should step down. I really believe that he has been flipping on up and down. He represents the WHO. He's got good buddies with the WHO, and Merck. He's got vested interest in Merck. He's under the CDC. He's been doing this for decades. He's been in this decades. He's got stocks in Merck. Okay, he might have some in Pfizer. I haven't looked that up yet, but definitely in Merck, and so you have this person who is being the spokesperson for pharma. Now let's look at pharma briefly. Pharma is a synthetic-based conceptual science, okay, and they don't really strive to go natural. They strive for synthetics. And it has been proven over and over and over that synthetics have side effects, debilitating ones. And we're talking, okay, check out any of the pharma, prescription drugs that are out there and see how fast those commercials talk about side effects. There's a lot of side effects. So what has happened? Pharma is losing so much ground globally on releasing very expensive drugs into the populations. And what you're seeing is they're losing billions and billions of dollars. And I don't know if you know this, for every dollar that pharma puts in research and whatever, they only got 10 cents out of the dollar. And then they recap if the AMA or the FDC approves the drugs, right? FDA, I'm sorry. And so you have them losing their shirts. So they had to come up with a scheme, maybe, called a virus. And I'm not minimizing the life and death of this particular virus. I'm not. I'm giving you the solid perspective. Okay, so now they have these acts that Kennedy put in place back in, I think it was 63 or something like that, and sometime in the 60s, and protecting the pharma. We've got Ted Kennedy institutionalizing the fact that pharma doesn't have to, they're not liable, okay, in a more restrictive manner. And then you've got the other Kennedy, Robert Jr. I thought he was like this big old friggin' safe anti-vaccine person, and because he's actually out there stating that there's no data in print for side effects in the history of vaccines in our country. So I thought I give him that credit for telling us that, but he's also saying, well, we got to still, form an allegiance, to pharma, and I don't get it. So he's anti, but he's pushing an agenda of, he must have some influence. We think he's all this great guy. He's not a bad guy because he put this one thing out, but he's got an influence. Come on, it's a Kennedy thing, okay? So that being said, what is the pharmaceutical? I mean, they have no solid basis. I mean, they have no, they're totally protected. Totally. So any side effect from any synthetic under the guise of vaccine, anything that happens, your side effects, you can't sue. They're protected. The three Kennedys did that for you folks. The three, okay? They're protected. And now I just saw something, why I'm bringing this up, is I just saw something about vaccine availability. They're being crude to other countries. We're talking Pfizer. I'm bringing Pfizer in right now. I just saw this wonderful, I have to find the name, a web page that I want you to subscribe to, because it gives you a perspective. It gives you a total perspective on, what's going around the globe, not just America, but what's going around the globe. It's crazy stuff. All right, let me just show you the name of this. This one, I just want to get you this one site because it's really cool. Here it is. All right, so it's WION, and it's Gravitas. I'm not sure if that's who. Anyway, her name is Palaki, and I'm not going to pronounce her last name, but I'm giving you the topic, and this is crazy what they're doing. Okay, Pfizer is bullying governments into pushing their vaccines. What right does pharma have doing this onto a country? They are not the law. In fact, they are only the synthetic way to deal with this and any other virus. And I posted that on my Facebook page. So basically, it says Pfizer has become a terror under the WION. The U.S. pharma company is reportedly asking for military bases and sovereign assets to guarantee a vaccine. So basically what this place is saying, I'm going to try to post this close. Do you see her? Okay, it's WION. See that little icon up there? And WION. Okay, I'm asking you to watch this because basically what she's saying is Pfizer's going in there with, I don't know, they're going to the government and saying, you have to promise us that we won't get sued. And you have to promise us if we give you these 2 million or 2 billion, 2 million vaccines, just say, I don't know, numbers, okay? But if we give you this, any kind of side effect that results in death or hurt or anything like that, the government has to pay for it, not the company. And they're saying this in Brazil, and they're saying this in Argentina. Look at that video. I want to expand on that. But you got people who are trusting in vaccines, which I don't have trust in to begin with. But they're trusting in, and they're trying to secure lands and military bases to secure sending this vaccine into these countries. Peru's one of them that's already done it. All right. I believe it was Mexico that's already doing it. All right. So basically, Pfizer is saying, all right, if something goes wrong, you can't sue us, but just in case we do get sued, we have a backup from the government using their most secured properties. What the hell is that? Okay. What is that? If the Kennedys have protected us, has protected Pfizer and Murdoch and Johnson & Johnson and whoever else is making these vaccines, who's protecting these other who's protecting Pfizer in other countries? The government. We don't need to have this. Pfizer and Murdoch and Johnson & Johnson, I think there's a half dozen other ones that are making vaccines that are synthetic and that could, in fact, have serious side effects. And I know they do, but I can't go there right now. But you've got to look at who's going to benefit. Any way you look at it, these powerful pharmacology companies are going to benefit pro or con. This is disgusting, and the people should revolt over this. Just saying. Well, all right, so let's go. I wanted to bring up something. All right, so everybody's talking about the numbers of COVID, and I'm going to bring up the major biased media. Look at the number of, cancer deaths, homicides, heart disease, look at those numbers, all right, and look at the honest to goodness numbers of COVID. We are being fed fear, people, and because the numbers are the same or a little less. COVID numbers are a little less. And we have to look at the reality that maybe we are being sold a bill of goods. I am not minimizing the virus, but I certainly don't think, gosh darn, I don't think that we should have a vaccine that hasn't had full long-term side effects revealed to us, given to us for numbers that are equivalent to cancerous deaths or homicides or suicide and homicide combos. I don't think we should. And if you feel in your guts that you have to, look at your data yourself. Look at it. It's available. Just simply look at how many people died in. I don't think we have very good numbers for 2020, to be honest with you, on anything, because everybody was paranoid about COVID to begin with, and thinking so much more of it was happening. But my suggestion is look for yourself, number of deaths and, for cancer or fatalities to accidents and drunk driving, fatalities to accidents and fatalities to drunk driving. That combo should be up there around the number that we have for COVID deaths. I am just saying, let's think this through. We are not even talking about the side effects of the lockdowns as an effect of this COVID. We're not even talking about those suicides. We're not even talking about the oral problems of wearing masks now, the oral diseases that are, it's up at least 150% since the wearing of masks. We're not even looking at lung disease progressions as a result of wearing the masks. Lung disease can contribute to overall immune deficiencies. And if you're calling that a COVID thing, what a generality that is, when in fact it's the masks and keeping people inside their homes in air that is not really properly circulated. These are just things I'm saying. But, going back to CPAC, there was so much more there. I didn't see the whole thing, but I did listen to panels, and I was hopeful. I would consider myself a conservative person with a lot of integrity, but I'm listening, and I respect what Donald Trump has done for people. He's a people person. I believe that he is not our savior, and he by no means is, how did they put it? I like what they put here. He is by no means our pastor or our savior, but he is a wrecking ball, and he's knocking down lies. And speaking of lies, well, I call Trump a wrecking ball, but I'm going to go back towards the end of my whatever this is. I like how the Federalist, it's a news organization. They're pretty conservative, but they've actually come out with a whole list of lies that the Biden administration has actually, it's documented that you haven't heard any of it, and it's on their page, and they actually document it. See, it's funny because according to them, there was not one lie that was given from 2009 by the major media to January of 2017. Okay, and then Trump came in, and everything from the media, anything Trump said was a lie. So, example, he could be telling you, "Oh, good morning," and it's 12:01, and they would jump on his case to say, "Oh, look at him, he lied about the time." Well, the Federalists are great because they're documenting, and it's on their page, every single lie that the Biden administration is saying, and they're not retracting, and you're not hearing it from the major media. So good. Apparently, this particular material is getting updated daily, hourly, and moment to moment. So I would suggest you check the Federalists out and look at their page and read all of it. Let's see. One of the latest ones was today. Biden said that there was that Trump had no vaccine plan at all. Huh? What? Okay. Since 1 million people per day were getting vaccine shots at least 1 month before Biden got in office, and Biden also got a vaccine shot. What the heck is he saying? I mean, okay. So these guys are actually reporting, and the one question that was posed was, okay, so there's one thing to be mean and cruel, but to be purposefully malicious, the biased media is that. And one of the things is right now Biden is saying that, well, he is saying basically, he's saying that anything that Trump did, anything bad regarding vaccines and the virus, it was all on Trump. But guess what? Warp Speed collaborated with companies, unified them, and pushed the vaccine agenda. And apparently this administration forgot who started Warp Speed, and that was the Trump administration. Anyway, it comes back, and Biden comes in and says everything bad that Trump has done is regarding vaccines is on Trump, and everything that is in office right now he did, when in fact he just rolled under Trump's coattails. So, and actually the major media does this. It's crude. It's very crude, but it was even happening when the Obama administration came after the Bush administration very fiercely. So just be aware. There are alternatives. I'm sure there's like the Ben Shapiro information, Dan Bongino. These are guys that have their stuff together. If you can get anything from Lou Dobbs, very good guys. I like Diamond and Silk. I mean, they're a few minutes behind, but they're getting up there. They're really efficient. Some of Tucker Carlson is pretty cool. So I did that. No. I will tell you this. You can see, and you could maybe say it's CPAC. I don't know. I think that there is a bunch of people out there that believe in the People Party, and I don't see that in this administration at all. I don't see that it's for the people. I'll go into the two acts at this point, and I will. But I really believe that Trump, it was for the people. He may have been crass and mouthy, but a wrecking ball for the people is better than nothing. And I think that that's cool. I like the fact that he cares about due process of our Constitution. That's where I lie. I care about the Constitution. I don't like what's going on with the Supreme Court right now. I've been in the courtroom systems all the way up to the Supreme Court, and people don't care about the Constitution. They play their games, and you could dot your I's and you could say everything. This right here is an apple, and you've documented it till the horses come through. And this person who's getting paid over here is going to come right in and say, "Judge, that's not a freaking apple. That's a toothbrush." And I've seen it in the courts, and we need to get rid of these people who are doing this. I don't care if they're attorneys. I don't care if they're judges. I don't care if they're House of Representatives, which a lot of them are. I don't care, and they're judges too, and the whole thing. It's all crazy. And I don't care if they're in the Senate. It doesn't matter. We the people voted them in. We the people pay the damn tax dollars that they're taking and they're spending wherever the freak they want to. We the people can get off our butts, our blooming butts, and go on a grassroots level. I'm plugging Dr. Shiva Ayadari. Check him out. Grassroots, to get into the system on a grassroots level. Okay, and that being said, I'm going to move into HR-1. HR-1 is in the House right now. HR-1 basically is reformatting and trying to push through a modification of our voting system. First of all, did you hear about it as they're proposing it? Absolutely not. It's in the House right now being debated within the last 2 or 3 hours. Everybody has a 2 to 3 minute say on it. And basically, HR-1 is going to say, okay, it's going to be all right for anybody. What was the lady in charge? I can't remember her name. She basically said that people can secure their vote. We'll make sure that there's a barcode on the back of every vote casted through the system, and it's protected where it goes, where the vote goes, blah, blah, blah. They just threw 2 of Sidney Powell's federal court I got a loss for words, but they just kicked a couple of her cases out about election fraud. And one of the biggest things we had was all of the hundreds and hundreds of counts of people saying there was election fraud through the mail. There was tons of it. They didn't want us to know about it. They quashed every bit of every article and every personal visual that was seen on this level. They threw it and they pushed it under a rug to get Biden elected. And you never heard it. You never heard these hundreds and hundreds of people saying, I'm putting an affidavit in. I saw this. I saw this at the polls. I saw this at the polls. And we're talking 6 different areas on the country, and you haven't seen this. Okay? Well, what this bill is going to do, HR-1, get on to your senators now and say, no, do not pass this. Get on to your House of Representatives and say, no, do not pass this. What it's going to do is make it available for anyone who comes in illegal aliens to vote. They're not even registered citizens. Heck, they're even going to collect Social Security benefits. All right. It's giving them permission. It's going to give that 16-year-old who has her driver's license the ability to vote. Gee, she can't go into a bar and have a drink, but she can certainly vote. She doesn't know what she's voting for. I like what Iran. Now, I'm not crazy about Iran, but this one guy was saying this when this was going live. He goes, isn't it interesting? The one thing Iran's really doing good is their voting. What they do is they have in ink you sign, and your fingerprint is in ink that it was you. I think that's great. I think that you have to be present. Sorry, people. The only people that should have the right to not be there are handicapped people. That's it. And we, the people, have got to stand up for stricter voting laws. And that's what Dr. Shiva is trying to do. He's trying to get a grassroots, whole grassroots system in place. So please check out Dr. Shiva, Ayydurai. I think that's who he is. MIT 4 times professor, doctor, and 4 times, and he's the inventor of the email. Okay, so that's pretty cool. All right, the Equality Act. I'm bringing that up again. It's very important that you know this. The Equality Act passed the House of Representatives, I believe, what's today, Tuesday? On Friday, I believe. This is not up for debate, people. This is not up for debate at all. If you have a daughter, and if you have integrity, and if you care about the fact that God created 2 genders, male and female, he created them both. There's no in between. Okay, the DSM-4 says gender dysphoria is a mental illness. That's a mental illness. It's a mental illness. DSM-4, DSM-5. Look it up for yourself. I'm not going to insult. I will love people where they're at. I am a minister slash women's issues, and right now I have to stand up for our little girls and for our adult girls and women. We have made such headway as women, people, and we may piss and moan about how we got here, but we're here, and we cannot undo 100 years worth of hard work to get where we are and be undermined by someone who's confused. It's not fair. It's not right. If people want to get involved in sports, the biological aspects of someone who's calling themselves a female when they are a male, the science behind this is saying that that biological person is going to kick the crap out of women in sports. It's just going to do that. We're undoing 100 years worth of stuff here, people. 100 years of hard work for women's issues. It's time to stand up and say no. No, there's several things on this Equality Act, but one of the key things, and I'll probably bring up the other ones, what it's going to do is it's going to, under the Civil Rights Act of 1963, this new tandemed act, the Equality Act, will kind of sectionalize the transgender community and tandem it and pull up that Civil Rights Act. And as a result, our bathrooms are going to be transgender, showers, public showers. I don't know. You name, where do we women congregate? I'm not saying in public arenas where there isn't privacy, people aren't willing to. I mean, we definitely would accept people, whoever they are, whatever they want to call themselves. But in private, we women are private people. A lot of us are modest. Any developing young lady in adolescence needs her privacy. She needs it. She's going through hormonal craziness, okay? And to say that these young people can choose their gender early, they don't have the development capacity to do that. Dysphoria is a mental illness, okay? And people who are pushing a dysphoria is just unraveling a growing identity. And that's not fair. That's not fair to the person who's growing, and it's not fair to the people around that person, if they're an adolescent or under. Okay, so I'm concerned about our girls. My take on all this, to be honest with you, is if this population, this transgender population, is so bent on being successful in sports, get on a freaking playing field that's fair. Get your own NCAA sports arena for transgender people. Then you're being fair to yourself, to your abilities, and to other genders. Well, and to the female gender, okay? Get that moving. Why can't we get that moving? That's what I'm saying. Now, in addition to that, it is going to take, the equality bill is going to take your rights as someone who has a belief system in God, okay? It's going to take that and say, sorry, this gender dysphoria thing that we're passing through under the Civil Rights Act, it nulls the Act of 1993. I believe that's what it was, when there was special extra, I think it was an agenda or an act or a bill that came forth that said we can protect the religious freedoms that we have. We have special protection. It's going to null that. So if you are a believing person, and I am a faith-based person, and I believe in Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, if you are a believing person, whether it's through Jesus Christ or through a mosque or a temple, whatever, all right, you will not have rights to stand forth and say, I'm sorry, I have to, I can't take on this responsibility in my medical practice. Okay, so here's the other thing. I'm going to go right into that. If you're a medical practitioner and you want to, because you believe what you believe, you do not believe that this whole gender thing is something that you believe in, you can always turn, in the past, you could always turn it over to another doctor or another medical professional. Under this act, people, under this act, you won't be able to do that. You will be made to augment and modify a 15 or 14-year-old girl's body or boy's body, change its gender. You will be made to do that, and there will be government funds available for you to do that. You will not be able to say no. Why? Because if you accept Medicaid and stuff like that through your practice, you're going to be made to do it. Say no to the equality bill. Say no to it. Tell your senators, and we will not vote anybody in under this. And we've got to stop this. We've got to stop it. We, the people, have got to stop this. Oh, my goodness. The other thing, what was it about the Equality Act? There's so much here. I think the one that gets me is that, you've got a woman, a young adolescent woman who does not even know what college she's going to go to or what her interests are. And you've got her thinking that she may or may not be a female. Same with a young man, may or may not be a male. And it's being pushed on them as a norm now. And you've got them being able to modify their bodies without their parents' permission. And the state can pay for it. And where the hell are they getting this money, by the way? You, the taxpayers. We, the taxpayers, are going to have to pay for this. What the hell? We should not. Okay? So, the other thing that's going to hurt is abortions. Okay? In the past, people who have staunch belief systems on anti-abortion, and I am one of them, as a professional or as someone out in the public eye, guess what? You will not have any say anymore. The taxpayers' money is going to go straight to funding abortions and these doctors can perform abortions on girls because they have to because they're accepting Medicaid in their practice. So they have to do it. They can't turn it over anymore. So if they don't, okay, here's the interesting thing about that. If they don't do that, well, basically what this is saying that under the Equality Act, basically, if a woman is pregnant, all right, she can remove that living person as a medical condition. You should be mad. You should be mad. So, let's see. I already went through that. There's so much here. The two acts that you really, the bills and acts that you have to really act on right now is the HR-1 bill for voting and the Equality Act. Please, people. This is basically when I see this kind of stuff, I have to say that I really do not believe that our left democratic people really give a crap about women, really give a crap about you, really care if you are alive. I just can't see it. And I don't believe our administration, the Biden administration, cares. That's all I'm going to say about that. I do want to tell you this right here. I'm going to leave with this. I wrote this down. I really like what I said here. I got to find it. It's pretty cool. Bear with me. Oh my goodness. Just those two bills, people, please. Okay. So, I wrote this morning. A person who tells the truth often or the most is one who gets bashed by those who deny the truth and who won't address the truth. This kind of person is a person who wants the truth out there. They want it to be revealed at all cost, even at the cost of being bashed, isolated, ignored, shut down by even the closest of family members and friends. They're the ones who are not hiding their heads in the sand. The people who are hiding their heads in the sand are people who are fear-based. People like this are following the truth even if it means following a wrecking ball, like Trump. Truth will always be uncovered, whether your head is in the sand of fear or not. I'm Catherine Isabel Jennings for Your Life Matters. News and comment. Have a good day, okay? God bless.